From Death to Life, a reflection for the fifth Sunday of Lent. Our first reading on this fifth Sunday of Lent comes from the book of the prophet Ezekiel, who spoke to the people of Israel during the most traumatic period of their history, the Babylonian exile. The handful of verses selected for today follow a lengthy description of the prophet's most famous vision, the Valley of Dry Bones. In a scene that rivals the creepiness of zombie films, the Lord instructs Ezekiel to prophesy first to the bones, causing them to assemble and put on flesh, then to the spirit, which makes the newly reformed bones come back to life. Hearing this story as a child, I envisioned skeletons rising up out of the ground, the fruit of an overactive imagination and the vivid memory of Jason and the Argonauts, a film that I probably saw when it came out in 1963. Drive-in movies were the rage, and my family enjoyed the big screen experience on many a summer evening. Just imagine the effect of enormous dancing skeletons on the mind of a 5-year-old. For Israel, Ezekiel's valley full of dry, scattered bones becomes a vivid metaphor for the disgraceful and utterly hopeless circumstances of exile from homeland and estrangement from God. The covenant with David, once expected to last forever, now appears broken beyond restoration or repair. God's mighty deeds of liberation and deliverance have faded into distant memory. What he did for the ancestors, he seems unwilling to do for the present generation. As they once hoped falsely in a covenant that demanded no responsibility on their part, they now fall into an equally false despair, discounting the reliability of God's promise. The stark image of dry bones scattered contrasts with accepted burial practices in ancient Israel. Just as connection to family, tribe, and community gave an individual identity and personhood in life, so burial among one's kin in the family plot or crypt meant some continuation of the person, at least in the memory of the living. No notion of resurrection or life after death existed at this time. One's bones, scattered among strangers, represented the ultimate disgrace and dissolution. Ezekiel delivers the good news that God has not forgotten his people or his promise. "O my people, I will open your graves and have you rise from them and bring you back to the land of Israel. I will put my spirit in you that you may live. Thus shall you know that I am the Lord. I have promised, and I will do it." Ruah, the wind that blew over the waters of creation, the breath that made Adam a living soul, returns as the Spirit placed in the hearts of the people. Thus, the Lord calls them from death, alienation from God, to life, reconciliation with God. Death looms over this Sunday's gospel, while new life lies hidden, waiting to spring forth at the word of Christ. The disciples warn Jesus against a return to Judea, citing a recent attempt on his life. Jesus tells them, "Lazarus has died." They see that he must go back. Thomas says under his breath, "Let us also go to die with him." They arrive in Bethany 4 days after the entombment. Martha meets Jesus saying, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." Hoping for a reversal, she hints, "But even now, I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." Jesus challenges her to believe, to set her heart on him and the promise of resurrection. Clever Martha deploys her sister Mary, who falls at the feet of Jesus and echoes her sister's opening words, but does not hint or plead. She just weeps. Jesus weeps with her, then orders the tomb opened. Martha warns of the stench. Once again, he challenges her to believe. Jesus calls Lazarus back to life, and doing so provokes the powers that be, thereby ensuring his own suffering and death, from which new life will spring.